Hello, everybody. I didn't post yesterday because I had a whole yard full of hikers. Um, but it's been a struggle yesterday and today. I did have a great group of hikers in the yard, and they brought me fantastic joy. They were an epic group of people, so that was good. But today's video is about disappointment, and the struggle is real. I had fallen and fractured my heel, and I didn't know it. And because I didn't know it, and I thought I just had plantar fasciitis, which is very, very common for hikers, I walked on it for a few months before I actually found out that that's what had happened. I had to wear a boot for 8 weeks. Well, I had to wear a boot for 6 weeks, and then 2 more weeks, so 8 weeks. And then I went to physical therapy 3 times a week, and I still do the stretches that they taught me. And everything on the foot healed except the one part. The doctor literally sticks her thumb on it and it shoots me out of the roof. And I can't really bear weight, especially on hard concrete and sidewalk. Like, that's the worst. Soft, like cushy, like trail, probably if it were soft enough, I could get a little bit farther, but I live in Pennsylvania and it's just a state full of rocks. So it's been frustrating because I'm a hiker. I like to be outdoors. Nature is where I find my greatest peace, and I can't hike. And I can't march in parades, and as bagpiper, that's like one of my favorite things to do. And I can't do that either. So I've missed all the fun parades. I miss being with the two bands that I play with, and it's been frustrating. So today was the kind of final, like, we've done everything we can do MRI, and to determine whether or not I'd have surgery or not. And I was really hoping that I wasn't going to have surgery, but it appears that next Thursday they will slice open my foot and get rid of a cyst and do something fancy with the plantar fascia. It thickened at the site of the injury, so they have to cut it. It's a plantar fasciectomy, which is such a fancy word to say. So I'm a little down in the dumps, just because, hiking is really like my passion play. Yeah, I love to be in nature, and I have gone and sat in nature, but it's just something about walking through nature that is very appealing to me, and I haven't been able to do it, and it really is frustrating. So been a little bit down in the dumps, and disappointed about some other things too. Um, you know, life and there's just some things that didn't go the way I wanted them to go. And when we look at disappointment, when I was thinking about it today, while I was meditating, I was so frustrated. I was talking to my spirit guide, and I'm just like, this is all nonsense. Like, this is like, I'm supposed to be like uplifted and feeling uplifted. And I had these amazing hikers in the yard that were so much fun. We had just a great time. We had done a cookout. I have all these really great things in my life. Like, why am I frustrated? Why am I disappointed? Why am I depressed? Like, what's going on? And so I had to like sit and think about it tonight, and I wrote in my journal, and I have to look at a few things. One, my mother suffered from depression, and depression in and of itself, the mental state of depression, is genetic. So, I'm predisposed to sort of that depressive state from time to time. And again, not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, but depression is hard because people will say, well, you could talk to me anytime. I'm here for you. Yes, I know that. I know there are so many people who, if I call them, they would be there for me. And there are people that I want to call who wouldn't take my call, right? Like, but but for the most part, there are people that I could call. So it's not that I don't know that I have people. The truth is, I wouldn't know what to say. I wouldn't know what to say. I'm sad. I'm sad I can't hike. That sucks. My one friend doesn't like me anymore, and that sucks. And I've got like this big project coming up at work, and I'm going to be in a boot from surgery. That sucks. I can't march in parades. That sucks. Like this things suck. And I try to really count my blessings. I try to be a person who's like, I had all these hikers in the yard. They were super, super fun. I got to see them again today. Like I took some trail magic out to them, and I got to see that same group again today at dinner. And, I had a fire in my yard with my kid, like my kid still wants to hang. I went out to lunch with my boys today. Like I have all these amazing good things. And then I get mad at myself because I'm like, why can't I appreciate all the good stuff that happens in my life? Like all this great stuff happens, like I renewed my Girl Scout leader membership. We found out that we can use Airbnb for Girl Scouts, and that's a big win because, trying to get 2 hotel rooms in Savannah, holy cow, that's where our girls want to go. So like, I have so much to be thankful for. Why? So I get mad at myself. So I get sad, and then I get mad at myself for being sad. But I look back over like, I had my boys, I had postpartum with both. And that's something that we just don't talk about. I had postpartum with both. And there is a chemical, imbalance, I think, or a chemical thing that is associated with depression. And I can tell when I'm going into a depressive state because I can tell like my energy gets really low, and I just feel completely alone. And I could be in a room of 1,000 friends and still feel completely alone, and sort of locked into my feelings. But I can't explain that to people, right? Like, what am I going to do? Call my friend and be like, oh, I feel locked in myself again? And people will be like, oh, it's not that bad. And they're right. So then it makes you feel silly because like I'm being ridiculous, right? So I think, I do understand people who are depressed who don't reach out and talk to people because you just don't have the words, because you don't know the words. Like I don't know the words for myself, like to heal myself. Like how am I going to tell you what I can't even tell myself, right? So I kind of like wrote down all the things that made me sad, and then I wrote a list of all the things that made me happy. And the things that make me happy far outweigh the things that make me sad. Like I've said in a million videos, and practice what you preach. You can't control how other people respond to you. You can't help the ones that walk away from Omelas. Literary reference, short story by Ursula Le Guin. You should read it. It's fantastic. But there are people who will walk away and not be part of your story. They don't want you in their story. So, and it breaks your heart, and you just have to let it go. And you can say let it go, but you actually have to let it go. And that's, that's the part where we all struggle. And that is certainly where I struggle. I miss my best friends who moved away. I miss them because even though I wouldn't be able to talk about what was going on, we could play a round of cards. Right? We could play Scrabble, we could play cards, we could play something, a game just to get my mind off of it. Because probably my biggest problem is that I think too much, and I will like churn things over in my brain, and my brain operates 30,000 times faster than my mouth. So I have different things going on in my brain all at one time. I could be coding something in one half of my brain and then thinking about how to save the world in the other half of my brain. And there's a lot going on under this hair. There's a whole lot going on. So, I just have to like take a moment, and the thing I get mad at myself the most about is not being grateful for the amazing things that I have. Like I have a yard full of hikers and great hiker stories, and we were singing songs and being ridiculous, and it was so much fun. And then, today somebody dropped off stuff for the hikers, and, like I have really good things in my life. And, I'm working on really cool stuff at work. I get to work with really cool people. I have a lot going on in my life. That's good, right? So I have no right to be upset or sad or depressed, but yet I am. So, that's a cycle. So where do we go from here? Like what happens next? I have no idea. Constant interruptions in my house. Anyway, where was I? Where do we go from here? So, I think it was very helpful to write down the things I'm thankful for and grateful for, and to put words to how I feel about myself when I get depressed, and that being angry at myself isn't at all helpful. So, sort of taking an inventory of the disappointments. Like, what are they? What are the disappointments? Well, I'm absolutely disappointed that I cannot hike. I'm absolutely disappointed that I cannot march. But I'm going to have surgery, and then I will be able to hike, and then I will be able to march. So, I'm trying to like find the silver lining, which is what I always try to do. So, it's a temporary restriction, but if I don't have the surgery now, I'm going to have problems further on, and then I may not be able to ever hike or ever march. So, take care of it now while I'm in reasonably good health, and go from there. Right. So, that will get solved. It's frustrating. Yes. And I think it's okay. I mean, again, not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, not a therapist. I think it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be upset. Like my whole hiking season has been totally crushed, and I want to really hike in Maine in August. So if I want to hike in Maine in August, I'm already going to have to modify everything because I'm not going to be able to do the miles that I would normally do under normal circumstances. So, but just getting there, I'm going to get the opportunity to go to Maine. I'm going to stay at this hostel that I have wanted to stay at for years. They're no longer an AT hostel, but this amazing, it's a camp in the 100-mile wilderness where I want to hike. So I still get to go, right? I still get to kayak. I'm not going to be able to push the big miles. I'm not going to be able to do all 100 miles. But, I'll get to do some, and I'll get to at least walk in the woods a little bit if I do the surgery now. So, I have to kind of think about the sunny side of life, right? And so that, there's, a handful of people that frustrate the crap out of me in my life. And I just have to, see the bright side, the best in them, and see, that they're just doing the best that they can. I have to put words to people who disappoint me, and or situations. I don't even want to say the well, no, yeah, the people disappoint me too, but the situations and people associated in those situations that disappoint me, and just be honest of like why it's disappointing, right? It's hard to lose. It's hard to lose somebody. It's just hard to not understand, and I don't understand. So, and it's bewildering, and for a person who likes to solve puzzles and challenges, not to be able to solve one is frustrating, right? To not know what the issue is or problem. But like with my brother, I had to let it go, and I have to let this go, and I always believe that when God closes a door, he opens a myriad of windows. So, there's some silver lining. I just don't know what it is yet, but I will. Or maybe I'll understand better at some point. Like maybe I'll get an understanding, and maybe perhaps it's just nothing that I think it is. And then I'm just like weaving, some kind of, story in my head that's not true because I don't have enough information. And, I have a flair for the dramatic. So, who the hell knows, right? Who really knows? But I'm not alone. I know that. I know I could call on anybody. I could call on any number of people. I'm not the kind to do that, but if I were going to do that, I could do that. And so that's, but at the end of the day, I do have the power of prayer, and I do have the power of meditation, and I have the power to write. And I write in my journal all the time. I have journals all over the place. And I pity my kids, like, if they ever try to assemble my journals, because they're all over the place, and like, dates, or it's just whatever one's closest I pick up and write in. So, and writing it out and putting words to things really does help me to sort of process how I'm feeling about something and how I'm thinking about something. So that's, the silver lining there is that, like, I'm not a perfect person, and I'm never going to be. But the closer I get to spirit and divine love and letting go of my ego, the better off it'll be for everybody. Mostly me. So tonight's post is about trying to live divine love when you are faced with some major disappointments and frustrations. And I don't have any great answers, but I do absolutely believe in the power of hope, and that tomorrow is always a better day than today. So I wish you well. I hope you have all the best in light and love, and I will see you next time. Be well.